know how to handle when we start entering the world of work. So I'm hoping that the presentation will pop up.
Do you have it in your computer?
I do also have it in my computer. Because I thought you would have anything. So while we're waiting for this to be set up, I just want to introduce you to the panel. We have Tatyana Mora, who is from Everest. She is the Senior Manager for Business Consulting, working in the European Union. She will be speaking first once we get this set up. Following that will be Sonia Canizares-Pino, who is from Microsoft, and she is currently working in the public sector and healthcare sector, but she has also many years in the industry, in different parts of the industry. And then finally we will have Natasha, who many of you know, Natasha Milic-Frayling, who is the Professor and Chair of Data Science at the University of Nottingham. So maybe because we're having a problem here, if it's all right with you ladies, would you like to maybe give 5 minutes to introduce yourself and just set the scene of your career in industry so far, and hopefully this will come along later. So firstly, if I can go to Tatyana.
Yes, thank you, Jane, for the introduction. And well, I know I'm the first one, so I'm taking here the lead. And also, you also said women here having many, many years of experience. So thank you for these many, many years. Okay, so my name is Tatyana Mora. Probably as yourselves, because I know here we are it's an international crowd. And I come also from another country. So I come from Costa Rica, Central America, but I've been living here in Barcelona for quite a while. My background is not as the one as yourselves, because I'm not an engineer, I'm not a mathematician, I don't come from the computing system, but I am an economist, and I work as a consultant in this, what I believe an amazing company, which is Everest. And next to my here fellow colleagues coming from Microsoft, from Oracle, from Amazon, Accenture, I think Everest deserves 1 minute of introduction. So Everest is a multinational company, a consulting company, also specialized in outsourcing. We are more than 19,000 people around the world, and we belong to entity data, to the entity data group. So for those coming from Asia, this is much more, it sounds more than from those coming from other parts of the world, but it's a quite important entity group, one of the leaders of the IT and telecom in the world, the 10th, if I'm not mistaken. So within this group, this is where we are, where we work, and Everest is present in Europe and the Americas, US and Latin America. Too. Within this group, I belong to the consulting business consulting, helping our clients, which come from the private sector, but also the public sector, to see how they are working to help them with the digital transformation, but also other kinds of studies. Myself, and this is, again, this is very interesting for Everest to be here, because of course, encouraging, not only finding talent is a key element for us, but being able to maintain this talent and to be able to develop this talent within our employees is very, very important. And within this commitment, reaching out and being able to recruit women, professional women, is also one of the key lines of our work. So again, being in this panel talking about experiences of women, encouraging young professional women to pursue fulfilling careers is also very important. What I also wanted to say here is, even if I don't come, and I don't have specifically the background that you have, I also have seen throughout my career of many, many years here, situations that are interesting, both in university, when I was starting my career, the doubts that I had, also with the women that inspired me through my way of developing my career. And so I think that it is really important to be here, not only to share our experiences, but also to listen to you. What are your expectations? What are your needs? What are the questions that you have right now, and that you are, well, what are you wondering now? What do you want? And I think that part of developing and to reaching equality at the workplace, and this is how I think we will get there more in detail later on. I think these kind of spaces where we can share are great for us as women, as a group of women, helping each other to advance in that sense. So again, a few minutes, and thank you again, and we go on.
Thank you very much. And we've kind of juggled about the presentation because of the starting point, but just, you know, there's a lot of things in the news these days. You know, we're hearing about the gender pay gap. We're hearing about, you know, the bro culture in the technology industry. You know, we hear about the image of the sector itself. Is it creative enough for even us, you know, for women to work in? And, you know, what's been talked about this morning, the STEM career development, you know. So, you know, with that context, you know, there will be a lot of questions for you coming into the industry. So I would like to invite Sonia now to come up and do a small presentation about Microsoft and what they are doing to support women developing their careers in Microsoft.
Engineering with all my expertise is in engineering, and all my expertise is in a company that I work continually with engineering, almost men. We are working and we are advanced in this situation, and now we are increasing. Now I'm in Microsoft, and I want to speak about that. Microsoft, no, yes, this one, okay. For Microsoft, it's a must to be the gender equality. And you can see here, in Spain, we are 1,700 people, 36% are women. It's relevant for our industry, it's relevant, this number. But we want to increase. The 42% of women are in management board, and nearly 30% of female hiring past year. How we do that? We do in 3 lines. There are 3 strong lines in recruiting, culture of work flexibility, and career development. When we talk about recruiting, we want to look for the best talent, both in men and women. But we balance the selection process, at least 1 woman in the final round. How we can achieve this? We have very different initiatives for attract talent women. Another point, and this is very, very important for the gender equality, is how we achieve flexibility environment. Our philosophy is not based only in work-life balance, we talk a lot, but on flexibility. Work culture is based in objectives. My office is where am I? It's not a place, it's where am I? This is my office. And the most innovative technology that facilitates this flexibility. we focus on people, space, and technology, fosters communication, productivity, and teamwork, and each person can choose where and how she or he can work. This is very important, and it's a reality in Microsoft. I have colleagues, men colleagues, that goes to and stay afternoon with his children, because they work at night. We talk, and it's a man who has this choice. When you have this situation that a man can choose that, we begin to talk about gender equality and adapted to the personal needs of each employees. Career development, we are committed to look for the professional development of our employees, the professional profile, the personal capabilities and the experience, very biggest mechanism of mentoring, coaching, and shadowing. And these are effective models, and this makes that many women have in managerial roles. How do we foster gender equality around us? We have a lot of programs to attract female talent. Female talent in ages of university, but not only in these ages that they are important, but we have to work in young ages. We encourage, motivate, and support girls and young people to STEM careers. It's a very important group of persons in the time to choose an STEM career. Change the stereotypes that establish that technical careers are only for men. We are working in these actions to change this state and facilitate network mentoring and coaching opportunities for STEM careers. Thanks.
Can I now invite Natasha just to say a few words in terms of your experience in the academic sector and the challenges that you face, and then we'll go to Paula after that.
Thank you. Yes, my name is Natasha Milic-Frayling, and I'm professor and chair of data science at University of Nottingham. But I should say I can't really speak for academics that much because I joined about, 2 years ago. I spent most of my career in research and industry. I worked for Microsoft Research for 17 years, and before that I worked for 5 years at a startup company in the United States. Before that I was teaching. I was actually teaching mathematics and computer science at all-women's college close to Pittsburgh, and it was fascinating because that was an environment that I didn't have to worry about concentration, a small concentration of women. It was really fantastic, and it was also eye-opening to me to see what were the issues that young women at that time, 20 years ago, were dealing with. And truly, over the past 20 years, things have changed dramatically. And I would rather not talk about the past because even my mother's generation was facing issues that probably relevant now. We are now, with the development of digital technologies, really in a new situation where we have much more flexibility. And instead of being burdened by the past, we look forward and look at how we can build new relationships in which women can then renegotiate their position in society and the workplace and shape it. I think this is basically the key issue that I have encountered in my professional life. It's all about understanding the culture, the context you're in. And if there is a problem, you have to be crystal clear whether you're trying to change the culture or just the local situation. Because changing a culture is really difficult. And sometimes you have no choice, you just have to leave. Yeah? Because otherwise you spend 10 years either being frustrated or trying to do something that you need an army of people to change, or you need to change the management, which is actually determining the culture. So in many instances that affects people's confidence because often they think it's their fault. And that's why it's so important to have somebody on the side objectively looking at things and being able to consult with and say, no, it's not your fault, actually get out of there. and let them continue with their misery, and find a better place, or even better, you start your own company, start your own enterprise, and create a culture that you like. And you create a culture for other women who can join you, and then you can work and shape it your way you want it. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce very wise words as well. And just, you know, to add to that point, I think for all the panel, you learn while you are on the job. You know, part of joining the world of work is all about changing things from within, if you can. And also, I think the whole facet of on-the-job learning is going to be extremely important, because that's where you develop those skills and that the techniques to push yourself forward in the industry. So I would like to invite Paula to just say a few words about herself and her views on career development.
Hello, my name is Paula Riesgo, and I am the Digital Transformation Officer for Sopra Steria. Sopra Steria in Spain. Sopra Steria is a French company. We are more than 40,000 people around the world working in technology, services, consulting, and digital transformation, of course. I have to admit that I feel very lucky for the trust that the company has related on me as a part of this digital era. Regarding my background, my situation is similar to Tatyana's. I have been working for more than 20 years now in technology, in different technology departments and different technology areas, but I have a degree in business administration. So I'm happy to share with you my experience, and I really encourage you to change this situation. Yeah? So let's try really to focus and to get these managing positions to the people that, let's say, is more prepared, okay, than we used to be. And in this sense, I have to admit that in Sopra Steria, I think that we are doing it quite well. We are working hard in fighting the gender gap. For example, in my case, I'm a member of the executive committee here in Spain, where the rate of women is 32%. That is over the market average, at least in Spain. Yeah. But on the other side, I have to tell you, it's just a personal experience. I just arrived like 15 minutes ago to the Congress, and I came directly from a meeting with C executive levels. We were 11 people in the meeting, 10 men and myself. By the way, I was only eventually invited yesterday morning. Yeah? Okay, so the gender gap does exist. But as my colleagues are sending, I would like to send a very, very positive message. I think that the digital era brings very good opportunities to believe, not to believe, but to build a more balanced future for all of us. So we have to focus and try to make of the girls and the ladies that are here, to make you become really creators of this digital era. Yeah? So in this case, and I'm going to repeat some messages that my colleagues have given, I think that the best opportunities that the digital era are providing us are related to the no physical location is required. We are connected almost from everywhere. Companies are getting more and more involved in creating open spaces and flexible culture to be able to work from everywhere. Yeah? Not physical efforts are required. We are based on the knowledge and the experience, so there are no difference in the sense between females and males. The leadership styles are dramatically changing, so now we are moving to a more collaborative way of leadership, where I think that women are quite well-oriented, and of course we are not going to be the first to do it. We have really significant role models already taking very important positions in the first companies, like Sheryl Sandberg in Facebook, Marisa Mayer in Yahoo, or Meg Whitman. I mean, I can continue the list. So I think that the message is positive, and it's a message of confidence in the future.
Thank you very much. I'd like to open it up for questions. So, questions please from the floor for these ladies' experience. What would you like to ask them? If you don't have a question to start, I'll start off with one, which is, how important do you think it is to have a mentor when you first enter the world of work? Anybody want to answer that question?
I believe it is key. And I've seen that because when I entered the workforce, the importance of mentors, mentors were not seen as something important. I mean, you had your career, you followed it. It was a different career path, different priorities then. And I have seen through my life and through my professional careers, again in different sectors, because well, now I am in Everest, but I also work for the United Nations, and now in Everest, and for many, many years, I work for the European Commission. So it's a public sector, international public sector, helping them work better. But so throughout my life, in many cases, for many precise moments, especially when I was taking important decisions, not necessarily for everyday's work and knowledge, but when I was reaching a point where I needed to take a decision, like in my case, should I pursue a PhD or not? Should I move, leave my country, Costa Rica, again, you know, the tropics, go to Europe? Should I do that? Why? Should I give now more importance to my personal life or to my professional life? Because again, in our case, and this is something that we have to mention, we always see it, we still see it as a trade-off. Should I pursue a fulfilling, great professional life, ambitious, or should I go for a fulfilling personal life? We see trade-off still. That was still in my generation, and I think it's still for you. And it shouldn't be that way. It is not. In my way, in my experience, I think I am happy with both my life, and I can only be happy because I have both. Otherwise, I will be crazy at home, or I'll be crazy at work without the other part. But again, when I needed to take those decisions, I didn't only need my family or my partner to be there with me, but I needed somebody else who had seen, who had been through the same path, who could advise me and tell me probably things that the people next to me with more a personal relation wouldn't tell me. So the mentor for me, and now I'm a mentor too, so I'm also, I have learned to be a mentor too. And a mentor for me is a person who can really understand the other, listens to the needs of the other, has an experienced life and a professional life which can be reflected somehow and be used in order to provide certain guidance or only ask questions. For me, in many cases, my mentors helped me to ask the right questions because I had many questions. I didn't know which one was more important than the other. And so I believe that a mentor is somebody, again, to provide that, and somebody we can look up and say, okay, I would like to follow the same path of this person in this mentor. I would like to learn from this person this. And so again, in my experience, I think mentors are really, really important, especially for women who are trying to
who have had the same experience and can guide you into the next step. Questions? Oh, there. You have to shout, sorry. So your comment is generally around the structure of the event, but I would like to invite a response from Natasha.
Yeah, thank you very much. And as Ryan mentioned earlier, I will be Asian Women Chair for this in Europe, and definitely taking on board everything you said. And Ryan and I will discuss later about the format. Just a general comment to say, this is a beginning of trying to create formats in which these issues can be brought up, and hopefully in the future, as you said, go to more specific actions. But if I can give any advice, first of all, the gender issues are very contextual. They're different from culture to culture, from different countries. So it will be very difficult now to kind of even design a program by which we can address each individual concern. And we are still trying to figure out whether there are any commonality across, so that we can bring to this sort of event. When it comes to mentorship, when it comes to dialogue about the issues, I would just say, first of all, you take advantage of this environment and create your network, because in the end, your mentor may actually be your colleague, or it can be somebody that you have met right here, or will connect you with somebody else who can talk to you. So it's really, actually, this sort of mentorship and addressing particular issues is probably not going to happen centrally. There's not one person even who can advise you. And based on what I'm observing with my daughters, they've got social network that I am envy of. Because, Mom, you don't have any friends. Okay, I don't have any friends. I mean, so compared to how connected the younger generation is now, and where they can get advice, who they can get it from, I think have just exploded. We just need to see how the generations can come together so that more experienced people can engage in the dialogue. Please.
I get your point, and I think people's experiences are going to be different depending where you started in your work. I think you make an excellent point about your network is your job. Your job is your network, because you've had a positive experience working in a particular company. It could be different in a different company, but building that network means that you may never have to look for another job, because the job will find you, because you have created that infrastructure around yourself, not because you're a woman, but because you're good at what you do and you have demonstrated that. So I think